Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's VinPF, and on today's show we've got something that's going to make a couple of people a little bit sad, I imagine, and that's the Elijah Craig 12-year-old. Now, with the pronunciation, in the UK it's a name, Craig, we say Craig. I know in the US you'll say Craig or something like that. So Elijah Craig, depending on where you are. This is now a little bit discontinued. As you'll see, I have two bottles sitting on the cabinet. In the UK, they kept the 12-year-old age statement for a little bit longer than in the US. It's slowly starting to phase away, but I picked this up when I saw this in a UK supermarket called Marks and Spencer's, and it was something like sort of £25. It was really quite cheap. So I picked up two bottles, the idea being drink one for review, and I'm going to save one for when the replacement finds its way to our shores. The replacement is the Elijah Craig small batch, no age statement. This itself is a 47%er. It's a decent proof. It usually sells for around sort of £35 in the UK, but as it's been discontinued, the shops are slowly cottoning on to that fact and they're putting the price up. I've seen this on some pretty hard-hitting websites now for getting on for sort of £50, £60. In my opinion, don't do that, but we'll go into this one anyway. It's a small batch whiskey, so this is meant to be something like 100 barrels. Now the new one, the small batch itself, they've increased the dump batch rate from 100 barrels to something like 200 barrels. Although it's no age statement, the new one, it's reportedly anything between 8 to 12 years. So whereas this is a minimum of 12, the new one will be 8 to 12 years. They've said that they've done it because they don't have enough stock to consistently provide the 12-year-old and then to have some barrels left over for their 18-year-old and the 21-year-old special releases. If they carried on knocking this out at the rate they do, they'll just be able to do this and nothing else, and maybe even eventually run out of that. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, do you want always good whiskey and probably stand the chance of not getting it that much or paying a little bit extra for it? Or do you want a readily available whiskey that's a couple of years younger and maybe mixed in with a few more barrels than this was? That's really it. Back to the 12-year-old, the mash bill's quite well known. It's a corn rye malted barley whiskey, bourbon. So it's 75% corn, 13% rye and 12% malted barley. Not a secret, check it out. It's also a Heaven Hill brand. I'm sure most of you know that already. They are most well known for kind of Evan Williams and the Elijah Craig series, but they also do the Larceny and the Henry McKenna. A couple of things I haven't tried yet on this channel, but I am definitely willing to. You've seen me cover quite a few bourbons recently. I've got a few more on the shelf ready to go, but I'm going to be doing bourbons kind of interspersed with the scotches and world whiskies coming up in the future. Enough chat, let's try some whiskey. Well, I hope a few of you have got this anyway, because if you're hoarding it, great. I don't intend to flip this, as I said earlier. This is for future-proofing the channel so I can compare it, because I don't know how the new thing's going to turn out. But this one I really quite like. I really do quite like it. There's lots of spices on the nose, lots of oak on the nose, cinnamon, kind of anise, you know, aniseed, that kind of thing. Some dark fruits, kind of cherries and things in there, I think. But those, you can tell it's got a little bit of rye in there. It's got that kind of creaminess of the corn flavours in there for sure, but that rye gives you that extra little bit of spice. Let's try it on the palate. It's got a bit of a kick to it. 47% I think is bang on. I often say on the channel, oh, if only they up the ABV. I never really know what to. But this is spot on, 47%. They could have weakened it down instead of taking away the age statement, but I think that would devalue the brand even more than just taking a number off the bottle. But that kind of leads me neatly into the end of the video and the question of the day, which today is, what do you think about the age statements? And I know this is going to divide the field quite neatly, because there's going to be some people that really don't care and there's going to be some people that care a lot. Now, I know this is disappearing and being replaced. Maybe you've tried the replacement already, especially if you're in the US, you probably already got that. I'd love to know what that's like, by the way, in comparison. But yeah, question of the day, What do you think about age statements and the disappearance of them? Hope you enjoyed this quick video. Hopefully I'm going to be covering the new one soon with that when I pop this. Now that I've reviewed this, this is going to go down pretty quickly. I'm not about saving whiskey. Get it drunk, get the next bottle in. Bang bong.